In the family chat, they planned to keep me away from money and out of the inheritance and business. They forgot I was there. I wrote, "The business isn't yours. I closed the accounts this morning." It's 3 a.m. Olivia is lying in her parents' bedroom, staring at the ceiling. It's the 5th day after the funeral. She can't sleep here in this bed where her father died 43 days ago after his diagnosis. But her own apartment feels even more foreign. Her phone vibrates on the nightstand. Olivia reaches for it mechanically, wanting to turn off the notification. Family chat. The Gallagher family. She almost swipes the message away, but stops. Roland, her stepfather. We need to act fast. While she's in shock after the funeral, we can convince her to sign a power of attorney to manage the company. Olivia freezes. Her fingers clench the phone. Mother, Virginia. I'll talk to her tomorrow. I'll say it's temporary until she recovers. She trusts me. Connor, her cousin. What if she doesn't sign? Maybe there's a way to get around the will. He couldn't think straight before he died. Roland. The lawyer said the will is ironclad, but if she transfers management for 5 years, we can restructure the business and take out the assets. Virginia. The main thing is not to let her understand the documents. She was never interested in Daniel's affairs. Connor. We need to keep her away from the money so she doesn't meddle in the family inheritance and business. Olivia reads the message a second time, a third time. Her hands aren't shaking. Something inside her freezes, becoming hard as ice. They forgot she was in this chat, considering how many years she hadn't posted here. She gets up and goes out onto the porch. The cold October air hits her face. Olivia takes out a pack of cigarettes she found in her father's desk. He quit smoking 5 years ago, but the pack was still in the drawer. Probably as a reminder. She lights up. The first drag in 3 years burns her throat. Olivia Gallagher. 28 years old, purchasing manager at a company that imports industrial equipment. Ordinary life, ordinary job, ordinary apartment in the suburbs. The only daughter of Daniel Gallagher, founder of Gallagher Logistics, a company that provides warehouse logistics and transportation services. Her father started with a single warehouse 30 years ago, before she was born. It has grown into a network spanning 4 states. Olivia grew up in affluence but never felt like a rich girl. Her father worked 14 hours a day. Dinners were quiet. Her father was tired, her mother was tired, and Olivia did her homework at the table. They weren't an unhappy family. They just weren't a family at all. 3 people under one roof. Her mother, Virginia, worked as an accountant in the company's office until Olivia turned 15. Then she met Roland, the head of the transportation department. Tall, smiling, always full of compliments. Her parents divorced quietly. No scandals, no court proceedings. Her father paid her mother compensation, and her mother left. A year later, she married Roland. Olivia doesn't remember anyone asking her opinion. One day, her mother simply said, "We're moving." Olivia replied, "I'm staying with Dad." Her mother didn't argue. Perhaps she even breathed a sigh of relief. Virginia had another child, a girl who was now 12. Olivia saw her sister a year ago at her mother's birthday party. They didn't even talk. The child sat on the phone. Olivia drank coffee in the kitchen, trying not to think about what she was doing there. Connor is the son of her father's brother, who died in a car accident when the boy was 6. Her father took him in and raised him as his own son. Olivia wasn't jealous. Connor was a quiet boy who hid in his room and played games. He grew up to be a quiet adult who continues to hide and play games. Her father got him a job at the company after college. Connor came to the office, sat at his desk, and got paid. Olivia saw this several times when she stopped by her father's office for lunch. She didn't comment, it wasn't her business. Her father didn't insist that she join the family business. "Your life is your choice," he said when Olivia enrolled in the management department. She didn't like logistics, didn't like talking about warehouses, routes, contracts. She wanted to be independent. She wanted to prove to herself or to her father, it was unclear, that she could do it on her own. After college, she found a job at a company that imported equipment for factories. It was boring, stable, hers. Her father supported her. They met once a month, had dinner at a quiet restaurant near his house. They talked about the weather, Olivia's work, trivial things. Her father didn't talk about his affairs. Olivia didn't ask. Their relationship was polite, warm but distant. 2 months ago, her father called in the evening. His voice was calm, but Olivia heard something unusual. "Olivia, I need to see you. Tomorrow. It's important." She arrived. Her father was sitting in the living room, his hands resting on his knees. "I have liver cancer, stage 4. The doctors say I have 2 to 6 months." Olivia doesn't remember what she said in response. She only remembers her father hugging her for the first time in many years and saying, "Don't cry. I've had a good life. I've built something real. Now it's yours." She didn't understand then. She nodded, wiped her tears, and went home. The next day, she took time off work. She started visiting her father every day. They watched the movies he loved. They cooked together. He taught her how to make risotto, which turned out terrible, but they laughed. They talked about her childhood, how he started his business, about her mother. "I don't blame Virginia," her father said one evening. "We weren't right for each other. She wanted stability. I wanted to build. Roland gave her what I couldn't. It's okay." Olivia said nothing. She wasn't sure it was okay, but she didn't want to argue. He lived for 43 days after his diagnosis. Olivia didn't leave his house for the last week. She slept on the sofa in the living room so she could hear if he called her at night. Her father grew weaker every day. He stopped eating, then drinking. He spoke less and less. The day before he died, he said, "I've left everything to you. The company, the house, the bills. You are my only child. Promise me you'll take care of her." Olivia nodded, not understanding what he was really saying. The company, himself, his memory. Her father died quietly in his sleep. His heart just stopped. Olivia sat next to him, holding his hand. She didn't cry. She just sat there. The funeral was big. Lots of people came, colleagues, partners, company employees. Roland organized everything, flowers, music, speeches. He looked sad but confident. Virginia cried loudly, hugging people Olivia didn't know. Connor stood to the side looking at his phone, occasionally wiping his eyes, from which tears were flowing here and there. Olivia didn't cry. She stood by the coffin, shaking hands with those who approached, thanking them for their condolences. After the ceremony, Roland approached her and put his hand on her shoulder. "Olivia, you need to rest. We'll take care of everything. The paperwork, the company. Don't worry about anything. You know you can rely on us." Olivia nodded. She was tired. All she wanted to do was sleep. She slept at her parents' house for 5 days. She didn't answer calls from work, didn't check her email, didn't leave her room. She ate very little. Toast she found in the kitchen, apples from the refrigerator. She thought even less. She simply existed in a vacuum where there was no time and no purpose. Until that night. Until these messages. Olivia stubs out her cigarette on the porch railing. She returns to the house and sits down at her parents' desk in the study. The phone is still in her hand. She opens the chat again. She reads the message for the 4th time. Her fingers type one sentence. "The business is no longer yours. I closed the accounts this morning." She sends it, waits 10 seconds. Types again, "and I blocked access to all systems. Sweet dreams." She turns off her phone, sits on the floor of the study, her back to her father's chair. She looks at the dark windows. On the table is a folder with documents that the lawyer gave her after the funeral. Olivia hasn't opened it yet. Now she reaches for it, takes it, and opens it. The first sheet is a will. The second is a list of assets. The third is something else. Olivia reads and understands. Her father knew. Olivia didn't sleep until morning. She sat in her father's office, rereading the documents from the folder. The will, the list of assets. The auditor's reports, her father's personal letter, written in his familiar, steady handwriting. Olivia, if you are reading this, it means I am no longer here. I didn't want to burden you with this while I was alive, but now you must know the truth. Roland has been stealing from the company for 3 years. The auditor found fictitious contracts, inflated expenses, offshore accounts. In total, about $2 million. I didn't fire him. I didn't take him to court. Maybe that was a weakness, but at the time I didn't want to hurt Virginia. She didn't deserve it. Maybe I was wrong. You decide what to do with this. The company is yours now. The house is yours. The money is yours. I left you everything I built. Not because you're my only child, but because you're the only one I trust. I'm sorry for putting this burden on you. I love you. Dad. Olivia closed the folder as dawn broke outside the window. She went to the kitchen and put the coffee on. Her hands weren't shaking. Her head was clear. She knew what would happen next. They would come. 7 a.m. Olivia is sitting at the kitchen table holding a cup. She hears the sound of a key in the lock. Virginia has spare keys to this house. Her father never took them after the divorce. Olivia didn't know why. The door opens abruptly. Her mother enters. Her face is red. Her eyes are swollen. Behind her is Roland, pale, his lips pressed into a thin line. Connor stands in the doorway looking at Olivia with a mixture of confusion and indignation. What have you done? Her mother's voice is piercing. She approaches the table, grabbing the back of a chair. You blocked the accounts. Roland can't pay the suppliers. The drivers haven't been paid. You've shut down the whole company. Olivia calmly puts the cup on the table. She looks at her mother. The company hasn't shut down. I've already signed the orders for payments to employees and suppliers. Everything is working. Just without Roland now. Roland takes a step forward. His voice is low and controlled. You don't understand how business works, Olivia. Without me, the company will collapse in a month. Your father trusted me with its management for 20 years. You think you can just come in and take everything? Olivia stands up. She goes to the closet, takes out a folder, and puts it on the table. My father knew you had been stealing from him for 3 years. Here's the proof. $2 million through fictitious contracts, inflated expenses, offshore accounts, audit reports, bank statements, copies of documents. Do you want me to hand this over to the police, or will you leave quietly? Silence. Roland looks at the folder. He doesn't touch it. Virginia grabs it, opens it, and flips through the pages. Her hands are shaking. Her face becomes even paler. This can't be true. Roland, tell me it's not true. Roland is silent. His jaw clenches. His eyes are fixed on Olivia. Connor comes out of the door and approaches. What is this? What are you talking about? Olivia looks at him. Roland was taking money out of the company and putting it into his own accounts. Dad knew. He gathered evidence. He left it to me. Connor blinks, looks at Roland. Is that true? Roland finally speaks. His voice is firm, but there is something defensive in it. It's not what it seems. I can explain. Daniel knew about every transaction. We had an agreement. It was compensation for my work for keeping the company going while he was ill. Father was ill for 2 months, Olivia says. You stole for 3 years. Roland is silent. Virginia puts the folder on the table and approaches Olivia. Her face is wet with tears. Olivia, I beg you, don't destroy the family. Roland may have made a mistake, but he's not a criminal. Think of Connor. He'll suffer because of this. Think of me. I'm your mother. Olivia looks at her mother. She sees a familiar face, familiar eyes. The woman who gave birth to her, raised her for the first 15 years, then left. The woman who chose a new life and never looked back. Mom, you chose them 10 years ago. You chose a new life. Money, comfort, Roland. That's your right. But don't ask me to betray my father's memory for your peace of mind. He left me the company. I will protect it. Virginia steps back. She looks at Olivia, then at Roland. Let's go. She won't listen. Roland doesn't move. He looks at Olivia. You'll regret this. The company is a complex mechanism. You can't manage it without me. Clients won't trust a girl who knows nothing about logistics. Managers won't follow you. In 6 months, you'll come back and ask me to return. Olivia takes the folder from the table and hands it to Roland. Take it. Read it carefully, especially page 12, which describes how you falsified reports on the costs of repairing warehouse number 3, or page 22, where the auditor tracked transfers to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. And don't expect this folder to be the original. It's just a copy. Roland doesn't take the folder. He turns abruptly and walks to the door. Virginia hurries after him. Connor lingers. He looks at Olivia. Are you really going to turn him in to the police? It depends on him, Olivia says. If he goes quietly, maybe not. If not, then yes. Connor nods and leaves. Olivia hears the door close, the car start, and drive away. She sits down at the table and finishes her cold coffee. She looks at the empty kitchen. The house is quiet. She is alone. The phone rings the next day. Delroy Egan. His voice is calm and businesslike. Good morning, Miss Gallagher. How are you feeling? Fine, says Olivia. They came. I thought so. Listen, I need to warn you. Roland won't give up so easily. He's already contacted me through his lawyer. He wants a meeting with the company's management. He plans to convince them that you're not fit to manage. He says you have no experience, that your actions are damaging the business. Olivia is silent. He's also going to contest the will in court. Delroy continues. He will claim that your father was of unsound mind due to illness, and that he signed the documents under the influence of medication. It's a long process, but it could cause problems. It could freeze assets and complicate management. What should I do? Olivia asks. First, don't panic, Delroy says. The will is legally sound. Your father signed it a month before his death, when he was fully conscious. There are medical reports and doctors' testimonies. The court is unlikely to grant the claim, but the process will take time. Second, you need to strengthen your position in the company, meet with management, and show that you are in control of the situation. If the managers follow Roland, it will be more difficult. Olivia thinks. When is Roland calling the meeting? Tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the morning, at the head office. I'll be there. Miss Gallagher, Delroy's voice softens. Are you sure you're ready for this? Running a company is not the same as purchasing management. It's responsibility for hundreds of people, millions of dollars, difficult decisions every day. If you want, we can hire a professional manager, a temporary one. You'll remain the owner, but you won't have to do everything yourself. Olivia looks at her father's photo on the wall. Young Daniel is standing next to the first warehouse, smiling, holding the keys in his hands. No, I can handle it myself. In the evening, Olivia goes to her office. She gathers her things from the table. Her boss comes over and asks if everything is okay. Olivia says, I'm quitting. My father left me the company. I need to take care of it. Her boss nods and wishes her luck. Her colleagues say goodbye politely, but Olivia sees curiosity, surprise, and perhaps envy in their eyes. She leaves the building, gets in her car, and looks at the city. She drives to her parents' house. She goes into the office, sits down at the desk, opens her laptop. Google, how to run a logistics company. She reads articles, watches videos, takes notes. At 2 a.m, she falls asleep at the desk, her head in her hands. Morning, 9 o'clock. Olivia puts on a business suit, the only one she has, bought for interviews 5 years ago. She looks at herself in the mirror. Pale face, dark circles under her eyes, hair tied back in a ponytail. She doesn't look like a CEO. She looks like a tired girl who hasn't slept. She drives to the Gallagher Logistics headquarters. The building is low brick on the outskirts of an industrial area. The parking lot is half full. Olivia goes inside. The receptionist, a woman in her 40s whom Olivia saw at the funeral, looks surprised. "Miss Gallagher, are you here?" "Yes," says Olivia. "Where's the meeting room?" "Second floor on the right. But right now, Mr. Roland is there with all the managers." "I know." Olivia goes up the stairs. Second floor, long corridor, the conference room door is open. She hears voices. Roland's voice is the loudest. "We can't let the company that Daniel built over 30 years fall apart because of inexperience and emotions. Olivia is a good girl, but she doesn't know this business. She's never worked here. She doesn't understand how it all works. If we give her control now, in a year, the company will be gone." Olivia enters. 10 people are sitting at a long table. Managers, department heads, people she saw at the funeral but doesn't know by name. Roland stands by the projector, looking at Olivia. His face shows no surprise. He knew she was coming. "Good morning," Olivia says. "Sorry I'm late." Roland smiles. "Olivia, we weren't expecting you here. This is an internal management meeting." "I'm the owner of the company," Olivia says. "I think that makes me part of management." One of the men at the table, an elderly gray-haired man with glasses, nods. "She's right, Roland. Miss Gallagher has a right to be here." Roland nods. "Of course. Sit down, Olivia." He points to an empty chair at the end of the table. Olivia sits down. Everyone looks at her. "We were discussing the future of the company," Roland says. "After Daniel's death, the situation is complicated. Clients are nervous, suppliers don't know what to expect. We need stability. So I propose that I continue to serve as CEO, as I did during Daniel's lifetime. Olivia will remain the owner, but I will be in charge of day-to-day operations. That way, we can keep the company going." The gray-haired man looks at Olivia. "Now, Miss Gallagher, what do you think?" Olivia opens the folder she brought with her. "I think Mr. Roland has stolen $2 million from the company over the last 3 years. Here is the audit report commissioned by my father. Fictitious contracts, inflated expenses, offshore accounts. Everything is documented." Silence. Everyone looks at Olivia, then at Roland. Roland laughs, briefly, sharply. "That's absurd. Daniel never commissioned any audit. Olivia, I understand you're stressed, but accusations of this magnitude—" The auditor's name was Marcus Bittner. Olivia interrupts. "Bittner and Partners. My father hired him last year. Here are his contact details. You can call and check." Roland is silent. His face hardens. The gray-haired man holds out his hand. "Can I take a look?" Olivia hands him the folder. The man leafs through it, reads it, and passes it to his neighbor. The folder goes around the circle. Roland doesn't move. "These are serious allegations," says the woman with glasses, the head of human resources. "If it's true—" "It's not true," Roland says. "Daniel trusted me. If he had suspected anything, he would have talked to me. He wouldn't have hired an auditor secretly." "He did talk to me," says Olivia. "Before he died, he said he was leaving the company to me because I was the only one he trusted. Now I understand why." Roland looks at her. Something changes in his eyes. Coldness. "Olivia, you're playing a dangerous game. You don't know this business. These people have been working here for years. They know me, they trust me. You think you can come in with a piece of paper and change everything?" "No," says Olivia. "I think I can come in with the truth and give them a choice. Work honestly or follow you." The gray-haired man puts the folder on the table. "Miss Gallagher, what do you plan to do next?" Olivia looks at him, then at the rest. "I plan to run the company, learn, make mistakes, correct them. But honestly, like my father did." The woman with glasses nods. "I support that." 2 others nod. Roland stands up. "You're making a mistake, all of you." He leaves the room. Olivia looks at the closed door. Her heart is pounding. Her hands tremble under the table. In the evening, Delroy calls again. "Miss Gallagher, I have news. Roland has officially filed a lawsuit. He is demanding that the will be declared invalid. He is also sending letters to the company's clients saying that the situation is unstable and advising them to review their contracts. There will be problems, big ones. Olivia sits in her father's office staring at the dark window. I know. For the first week, Olivia came to the office at 8 in the morning and sat in her father's office until 10 at night. She read reports she didn't understand. She signed documents in which half of the terms were unfamiliar. Managers came in, asked for decisions. She nodded, said, "Let me think about it." And they left with their faces telling the whole story. Clients called. "Ms. Gallagher, we've heard about the changes in management. Is everything stable? Can we count on the contract being fulfilled?" Olivia assured them that yes, everything was under control. She hung up the phone, looked at the papers on her desk, and didn't know where to start. Delroy arrived on Thursday. He sat across from her and put his hands on the table. "Ms. Gallagher, Roland is active. He is sending letters to clients saying that the company is in chaos, that you have no experience. 3 have already terminated their contracts. 5 more are waiting. If this continues, the company will lose a quarter of its revenue in a month." "What should I do?" Olivia asked. "Show that you are in control of the situation. Meet with clients in person. Convince them." Olivia met with 3 clients. They looked at her skeptically, asking questions about logistics routes, deadlines, and costs. She replied that she would look into it, that the managers knew everything, and that nothing would change. They nodded politely, promising nothing. In the second week, Roland filed a lawsuit. Delroy brought a copy. He claims that your father signed the will under the influence of strong painkillers and didn't understand what he was doing. He found witnesses: a nurse who cared for Daniel in his final weeks, 2 colleagues who say he forgot names and confused dates. The court may take this into account. "But my father was conscious when he signed it," Olivia said. "The doctors will confirm that. The doctors will confirm that he was ill. Roland will say that the pain and medication affected his judgment. It's not a foolproof argument, but it's enough to drag out the process. A year, maybe more." Olivia sat in the office after Delroy left. She looked at her father's photo. She thought, he built this over 30 years. I'm destroying it in a week. The board of directors met on Friday, 9 people at the table, Olivia at the head. A gray-haired man named Herbert, the head of the finance department, spoke first. "Miss Gallagher, we understand that the situation is difficult, but the numbers don't lie. In 2 weeks, we've lost 4 clients. 6 more are on the brink. Suppliers are delaying deliveries because they don't know if they'll get paid. Drivers are nervous. If this continues in a month, the company will not be able to meet its obligations." "I'm working on it," Olivia said. "I'm meeting with clients and talking to suppliers." "With all due respect, Ms. Gallagher," said the woman with glasses, the HR manager, "that's not enough. Roland is right about one thing. You lack experience. It's not your fault, but it's a fact. Perhaps you should hire a temporary manager until you learn the ropes." Olivia clenched her hands under the table. "I own the company. It's my responsibility." "Ownership and management are 2 different things," said Herbert. "Your father was a brilliant entrepreneur, but he also hired professionals to help him. Roland, despite all the accusations, ran the operations for 20 years. The company grew. We're not saying you're not capable. We're saying you need time." Olivia looked at them. "How many of you support me?" 3 raised their hands. The rest remained silent. "Understood," Olivia said. "Thank you for your honesty." In the evening, she sat in the empty office, looking at the financial reports. The numbers blurred before her eyes. The phone rang. Unknown number. Olivia picked up the receiver. "Miss Gallagher, this is Claire Montrose. We met at your father's funeral. I'm the sales manager. Can we talk in person?" They met at a small coffee shop 2 blocks from the office. Claire was a woman of about 43, with short dark hair and sharp features. She sat down across from Olivia and ordered an espresso. "I know what's going on," she said without preamble. "Roland is putting pressure on the board, gathering votes against you. He's smart. He doesn't attack openly. He just points out every mistake you make. And you, I'm sorry to say, make a lot of them." Olivia was silent. "I'm not here to criticize you," Claire continued. "I'm here to help. But first, I have something to tell you. After you accused Roland of theft, I started digging. I checked his transactions, correspondence, contacts. I found something more." Claire took out her tablet and opened the files. Roland wasn't just stealing, he was preparing to sell the company. "Stateside Logistics is a major competitor. Have you heard of them?" Olivia nodded. For the past 2 years, Roland has been passing them insider information. Customer base, financial reports, expansion plans. Here's the correspondence. Here are the payments to his account. Small, so as not to attract attention, but regular. After your father's death, the plan was this. Roland would gain control through the board of directors or through the courts if the will was revoked. Then he would sell the company to Stateside for a song. In return, he was promised the position of vice president and a bonus of $5 million. Olivia stared at the screen. Letters, numbers, names. "Why are you telling me this?" Claire put down the tablet. "Because your father was the only honest boss I ever knew. He didn't cheat, he didn't manipulate, he didn't play politics. He just worked. I respected him. I don't want the company he built to go to people who will destroy it. But, Olivia asked. "But I also don't want it to fall apart because of inexperience. You're a good person, Miss Gallagher. Honest, like your father. But honesty isn't enough. The board is right. You lack competence. I see it. Everyone sees it." Olivia leaned back in her chair. "So what are you proposing?" Claire crossed her arms. "A partnership. I'll give you this evidence. You use it against Roland, close the court case, and get rid of him for good. But in return, you make me vice president of the company. I'll take over operational management. You remain the owner and CEO, but I'll advise you, teach you, and help you make decisions until you become competent enough." Why should I trust you?" Olivia asked. "Because you have no choice," Claire said. "Without this evidence, Roland will win. The council will return to him, the court may revoke the will, you will lose everything. With me, you have a chance. I've been working here for 12 years. I know the clients, suppliers, managers. I can stabilize the company, but I need guarantees." "What kind?" "A 5-year contract, vice president's salary, 5% share of profits, and you can't fire me without the board's consent. Those are my terms." Olivia was silent. She thought, this is blackmail. But it's pretty honest. And what choice does she have? "I want to record our agreement," Claire said, "on camera so that both sides are protected. Do you agree?" Olivia looked at the tablet, at the files, at Claire's face. "Give me until tomorrow to think about it." "Tomorrow may be too late," Claire said. "Roland is moving fast. The board will vote in 3 days. If the majority supports him, you will lose de facto control, even if you remain the de jure owner." Olivia looked out the window. It was raining outside. People were running under umbrellas. She thought about her father, about how he started out. 1 warehouse, 1 truck, no guarantees, just faith in himself. "Okay," Olivia said, "record it." Claire took out her phone and set it on the table. She pressed record. "Miss Olivia Gallagher, do you agree to appoint me, Claire Montrose, as Vice President of Gallagher Logistics on the terms of a 5-year contract? Vice President's salary, 5% profit share, with protection from dismissal without the consent of the board?" "Yes," Olivia said. "I agree. In return, I will give you all the evidence of Roland's conspiracy with Stateside Logistics, provide advice on managing the company, and help stabilize the situation. Deal?" "Deal." Claire stopped the recording. She sent the file to Olivia. "Now it's official. Tomorrow we'll go to a lawyer and draw up a contract. Tonight I'll send you all the evidence on Roland. Use it wisely." Olivia came to Delroy's office the next morning. She showed him the files. Delroy read them for a long time, silently. Then he looked at Olivia. "This is more serious than theft. This is corporate espionage, conspiracy, possible betrayal of trade secrets. If Stateside used this information to poach clients, there's a criminal case there, and not just for Roland. Can we use this in court? We can, but it's better to hand it over to the prosecutor's office. Let them investigate. The court will automatically freeze the will while the criminal investigation is ongoing. Roland won't be able to contest anything while he's under investigation." "Do it," Olivia said. "Right away." Delroy nodded. "One question. Where did you get this evidence?" "From someone I trust," Olivia said. "I can't say more than that." Delroy didn't press her. The board of directors met again on Monday. Herbert began, "Ms. Gallagher, we've discussed the situation. Unfortunately, the majority believes that the company needs a more experienced leader. We propose reinstating Roland as CEO until the court case is resolved. If he is acquitted—" Olivia raised her hand. "Roland was arrested this morning. Charges of corporate espionage, conspiracy, and passing trade secrets to a competitor. The prosecution has evidence. Here's a copy of the warrant." Silence. Herbert took the paper, read it, and passed it to his neighbor. The paper went around the circle. Is this true?" asked the woman with glasses. "Yes," said Olivia. "Roland was preparing to sell Stateside Logistics. He had been passing information to them for 2 years. He was getting paid for it. After his father's death, he planned to take control and sell the company for a pittance." No one spoke. "In light of this, I am appointing Claire Montrose as vice president," Olivia continued. "She will take over operational management while I am studying. Any objections?" The board looked at each other and whispered among themselves, but no one raised their hand. That evening, Olivia sat in her parents' house watching the news. Roland was led out of the house in handcuffs. Cameras were filming, journalists were shouting questions. Virginia stood on the porch, crying, covering her face with her hands. Connor yelled at the police and they pushed him aside. Olivia picked up the remote and turned off the TV. The phone rang, her mother. Olivia looked at the screen but didn't answer. She put the phone on the table. She went to the kitchen and poured herself a glass of water. The phone rang 3 more times. Then a message came. "Olivia, this is your mother. Rolanda has been arrested. They say it's because of you. Please call me. We need to talk." Olivia didn't answer. She turned off her phone. She sat on the living room floor with her back to the sofa. She stared out the dark window. She thought, "I won. Why don't I feel triumphant?" For the first month after Rolanda's arrest, Olivia didn't communicate with her mother. Virginia called every day, left voice messages, and sent text messages. Olivia didn't respond. She read them, deleted them, and went on with her life. Work consumed all her time. Claire reorganized departments, changed schedules, and fired 3 managers she considered ineffective. Olivia signed the orders without objection. Claire knew what she was doing. But the press wouldn't let up. Local news outlets wrote about the scandal at Gallagher Logistics. Daughter accuses stepfather of theft and espionage. Family drama escalates into corporate war. Young heiress fights for control of her father's company. Journalists called the office, waited outside the house, and tried to get interviews. Olivia gave no comment, neither did Claire. "Silence is the best strategy until the trial is over," she said. The second month, Virginia showed up at the office. She stood in the parking lot waiting for Olivia to come out. It was already dark and the employees had left. Olivia was walking to her car when she saw her mother and stopped. Virginia looked older. She had no makeup on, her hair was unstyled, and her jacket was buttoned incorrectly. "Olivia, please," her mother said. "I need to talk to you." Olivia was silent. "Roland is being held in custody. He was denied bail. They say he might run away. The lawyers are charging a lot of money, but there's nothing they can do. The trial is in 2 months. They say he could get 5 years, maybe more." "I know," said Olivia. "Delroy keeps me informed." Virginia stepped closer. "You can stop this. You can drop the charges. Say the evidence is false, that it's a mistake." Olivia looked at her mother. "The evidence isn't false. Roland stole. Roland betrayed the company. He planned to sell it, to destroy everything my father built." "He made a mistake," Virginia's voice broke. "People make mistakes, but you're destroying our family. All you think about is money, the company. You don't think about me being left alone." "You chose him," Olivia said, "and 10 years ago. You chose him over Dad, over me. It's your choice, Mom. Now live with it," Virginia cried. "You're cruel. I didn't think you could be so cruel." Olivia got into the car and started the engine. Her mother stood in the parking lot crying, watching her leave. Olivia drove away without looking back. At home, she sat on the living room floor with her back to the sofa, holding a glass of water, not drinking it. She thought, maybe my mother's right. Maybe I am cruel. Maybe my father wouldn't want this. But then she remembered his letter. "You decide what to do with this." He knew. He foresaw it. He trusted her. 3 months later, Connor came to the office. The receptionist called. "Miss Gallagher, your brother is here. He says he wants to talk to you." Olivia hesitated, then said, "Let him in." Connor entered the office timidly. He looked bad. He had lost weight, had dark circles under his eyes, and his clothes were wrinkled. He sat down on a chair opposite Olivia and stared at the floor. "I didn't know," he said. "About Roland, about the plans, about the money. I really didn't know." Olivia was silent. "I lived in that house, ate that food, wore those clothes," Connor continued. "I thought it was normal, that my father earned his money honestly. I never asked where the money came from. I just took it. Now I understand. I was part of it. Not actively, but part of it." "Why are you here?" Olivia asked. Connor looked at her. "Because I want to apologize for those messages in the chat, for thinking that you would take away what was ours. In fact, we never owned anything. You're right. It's yours. From your father." Olivia leaned back in her chair. "What are you going to do now?" "I don't know," Connor said honestly. "Mom says I have to find a job. A real one, not the one they kept me in for Roland's sake. I'm looking. Nothing yet. No one wants to hire a guy whose last name is constantly in the news." Olivia looked at him. She saw not a grown man, but a confused boy who didn't know how to live on his own. His father had raised him, but hadn't taught him independence. Or Roland used him, but didn't prepare him for the real world. "I can't help you with a job," Olivia said. "I can't hire you here if that's what you were thinking. It would look bad. But I can give you some contacts. People who are looking for managers, assistants, coordinators. No guarantees, but a chance." Connor nodded. "Thank you, really." They didn't hug goodbye. They just shook hands. Olivia watched him leave and thought, maybe someday we'll become closer. But not now. Claire worked 15 hours a day. She won back customers with phone calls, personal meetings, and discounts that Olivia approved without asking for details. In 2 months, the company won back 5 of the 6 customers it had lost. Suppliers calmed down. Drivers got their salaries on time. The numbers stabilized. The board of directors met again. Herbert spoke first. "Ms. Gallagher, Claire, we see progress. The company is back to normal. Customers trust us again. It's good work." Claire nodded. "Thank you, but there's still a lot of work to be done. We need to expand our base, find new customers, and modernize our warehouses." Olivia listened without interfering. Claire spoke confidently, citing figures, facts, and plans. The board listened attentively. Herbert asked questions, and Claire answered clearly. Olivia sat at the head of the table but felt like a guest. After the meeting, Claire stayed behind in the office. "Olivia, we need to talk." "About what?" "About your role in the company. You are the owner, that's clear. But operational management is mine. That's what we agreed. The problem is that you sometimes interfere. You ask managers about decisions I've already made. You review contracts I've already signed. It undermines my authority. Olivia looked at Claire. I'm just trying to understand how the company works. I understand, but there's a way to do that without creating confusion. If you have questions, come to me, not to the managers. Otherwise, they won't know who to listen to. Me or you. I'm the owner, Olivia said. They should listen to me. Claire crossed her arms. In theory, yes. In practice, you don't make the decisions. I do. You approve. That's our agreement. If you want to change that, say so directly. But then I can't guarantee the outcome. Olivia was silent. Claire continued. I'm not your enemy. I want the company to work. But for that, we need clarity. One voice, one leadership. Right now, the employees see two bosses. It's not working. What do you suggest? Trust me completely. Don't interfere with operational decisions. Learn, observe, but don't get in the way. In a year, maybe 2, you'll be competent enough to take on more responsibility. But for now, let me do my job. Olivia looked out the window. She thought, my father wouldn't want this. He didn't want me to be a shadow, but what would he have wanted? For me to manage without knowing how? For the company to collapse because of my pride? Okay, Olivia said. I won't interfere. But I want weekly meetings. You tell me everything. Decisions, plans, problems. So I understand what's going on. Claire nodded. Agreed. 4 months later, a man in an expensive suit arrived at the office. He introduced himself. Marcus Stedman, Vice President of Stateside Logistics. May I speak with Miss Gallagher? The receptionist made the call. Olivia said, let him in, but Claire has to be there too. The 3 of them met in Olivia's office. Marcus sat down and smiled. Thank you for your time. I know the situation is difficult. The court, the scandal, the press. I'm sorry. Olivia was silent. I'm here with an offer, Marcus continued. Stateside is interested in acquiring Gallagher Logistics. We're offering $20 million. That's twice the market value. You can get out of all this, start a new life without any headaches. Claire looked at Olivia. Olivia looked at Marcus. What about Roland's case? Marcus shrugged. Roland acted on his own. We weren't involved in any conspiracy. Yes, he offered information, but we didn't use it illegally. We just analyzed the market. The court will confirm this. Why do you want to buy the company now? Claire asked. Because you're weak right now, Marcus said honestly. You've lost customers, reputation, stability. In a year, you'll either recover or collapse. We want to buy now while the price is reasonable. For you, this is a chance to make a profit. Olivia stood up. Thank you for the offer, but the company is not for sale. Marcus was not surprised. He just nodded and put his business card on the table. Think about it. The offer's good for a month. After that, we'll move on to other options. He stood up, said goodbye, and left. Claire looked at Olivia. $20 million is a lot. You could live carefree for the rest of your life. I know, Olivia said. But my father didn't build this company for me to sell it. Your father built this company to work, Claire nodded. If you can't run it, maybe selling it's the best decision. Honestly. Olivia looked at Claire. Do you want me to sell? I want you to make decisions based on reality, not emotions, Claire said. The reality is that you still don't know this business. I'm keeping the company afloat. But if I leave, it will fall apart. Are you ready for that? Olivia was silent. Think about it, Claire said seriously. That evening, Olivia sat in her parents' study, looking at the photo on the wall. Young Daniel, the first warehouse, smiling. She thought, what would you do in my place? Would you sell? Would you fight? Would you trust Claire? There was no answer. The 5th month of Roland's trial began. Delroy called every day with brief reports. The auditor testified today. Roland denies everything. His lawyer is trying to discredit the evidence, saying it was obtained illegally, but the prosecutor is holding strong. The trial dragged on. Roland hired expensive lawyers who filed motions, demanded postponements, and challenged every document. He had money, a lot of it. Offshore accounts that the company didn't know about. He spent it on his defense. This could go on for another 6 months, Delroy warned. Maybe longer. Roland won't give up easily. Olivia worked, trying not to think about the trial. She met with Claire every week, listened to reports, asked questions. Claire was patient, but Olivia felt the tension. One day, Claire said bluntly, "Olivia, I can't go on like this. You still don't trust me. You check every decision. You doubt me. You ask unnecessary questions. I understand, it's your company, but either you give me complete freedom or I'm leaving." "Where will you go?" Olivia asked. "To another company. I have offers. Good ones. I stayed here because I respected your father, but respect is not infinite. I need to feel confident that my work has meaning. Right now, I don't feel that." Olivia looked at Claire. She understood that if she left, she would take the managers with her. Herbert, the HR manager, and 3 or 4 other key people. The company would not survive. "What do you want from me?" Olivia asked. "Complete trust or an honest answer. Do you want to run the company yourself or do you want me to do it? If the former, tell me, and I'll leave. And you can hire someone else or try it yourself. If the latter, back off. Let me work. Don't interfere." Olivia was silent for a long time. Then she said, "I need time to think." "You have a week," Claire said. "After that, I'll make the decision myself." Olivia sat in the empty office, looking at the dark city outside the window. She thought, "I'm losing control. Over the company, over my life, over myself. My father wanted me to be strong, but I don't know how to be strong when everything is falling apart." The phone rang. Unknown number. Olivia answered. A familiar voice. "Olivia, it's Connor. Sorry to bother you, but I need to tell you something about Claire. I overheard her talking on the phone with Stateside. They're offering her the position of vice president if she brings key managers with her. I don't know if she'll accept, but I thought you should know." Olivia listened, holding her breath. "How do you know this?" "I work there now at Stateside. As a junior coordinator, they hired me a month ago. I overheard a conversation in the hallway. I'm sorry." Olivia hung up the phone. She stared at the phone. She thought, Claire is playing a double game, or she just has a backup plan. She didn't know which was worse. Olivia didn't sleep that night. She sat in her parents' office, replaying her conversation with Connor in her head. Claire is negotiating with Stateside. Maybe it's just insurance. Maybe she really is going to leave. Olivia looked at her phone and thought, should I call? Accuse her? Wait? In the morning, she came to the office before everyone else, sat down at her desk, and wrote to Claire, "Come see me urgently." Claire showed up 20 minutes later, coffee in hand, calm. Selah sat across from her. "What happened?" Olivia looked at her. "You're negotiating with Stateside. They're offering you the vice president position if you bring key managers with you. Is that true?" Claire didn't flinch. She didn't deny it. She just put the coffee on the table. "Who said that?" "It doesn't matter. Is it true?" Claire nodded. "Yes, they contacted me a month ago. They offered a meeting. I agreed. I listened. I didn't give a final answer." Olivia felt something tighten in her chest. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because it's my business," Claire said. "I'm not obligated to report every offer I receive to you. You own the company, but you don't own my life. You work here. We have a contract. A 5-year contract that I can terminate if the terms are not met. And they are not being met. You don't trust me. You interfere. You check my every move. I said either complete freedom or I'm leaving. You didn't answer, so I'm considering my options." Olivia stood up and walked to the window. She looked at the parking lot, at the trucks pulling up to the warehouses. "If you leave, you'll take the managers with you. The company won't survive." "I know," Claire said. "That's why I'm still here. But my patience isn't unlimited." Olivia turned back and looked at Claire. What if I sell the company to Stateside? Right now? Today? Marcus said the offer is good for a month. I'll call them and say, deal, $20 million. But on one condition, you get nothing. No position, no bonus. You'll be fired on the first day after the deal. They'll agree. For the sake of the company, they'll do anything. And you'll be left with nothing. No job, no reputation, because everyone will know that you betrayed the company for an offer you didn't get. Claire looked at Olivia. Her face didn't change. You won't do that. Why not? Because you're not like that. You're not vindictive. You're honest. Like your father. You won't destroy the company for revenge. Olivia sat down at the table. Maybe I'm not what you think I am. Maybe 2 months of court scandals and fighting have changed me. Maybe I've learned to play hardball. Claire was silent. Then she said, fine, let's say you do it. You sell the company, you destroy me. Then what? You'll have $20 million and an empty life. No purpose, no cause, no legacy that your father built. Is that what he wanted? Olivia looked at Claire. I don't know what he wanted. He died without explaining. He left me a company I don't know how to run and a responsibility I didn't ask for. I'm trying, but you're making it harder. I'm making it possible, Claire said. Without me, the company would be gone. You know that. I'm not asking for gratitude, but I am asking for respect and honesty. If you want to run it yourself, say so. I'll leave. If you want me to help, trust me. Olivia was silent for a long time. Then she said, what do you want? Besides freedom, besides trust, what do you really want? Claire crossed her arms. A share, not a nominal 5% of the profits, a real share of the company, 10% ownership, so that I'm not an employee, but a co-owner. Then my interests will coincide with yours. Then I won't consider offers from competitors. You want me to give you a share of my father's company? I want us to be partners. You have the name, the legacy, the legal authority. I have the experience, the connections, the ability to manage. Together, we can build something bigger than what your father had. Separately, no. Olivia looked at Claire. She thought, my father trusted me, but he also hired professionals. He knew he couldn't do everything himself. 10% is a lot, Olivia said, but I'll agree on one condition. You teach me, really, not just weekly reports. You take me with you to meetings, explain decisions, show me how the business works. I want to become as competent as you, not a shadow, not a nominal owner, a real leader. Claire was silent, thinking. Then she nodded. Okay, but it will take years. Are you ready? Yes. And you will stop interfering in my decisions until you understand why I make them. Yes. Then it's a deal. 10% ownership, partnership, training. We'll have the paperwork done by a lawyer. They shook hands. Olivia felt relief and fear at the same time. She thought, I gave away part of my father's company. Would he forgive me? But then she remembered his letter. You decide for yourself. He trusted her to make difficult decisions. For the next few months, Olivia lived at the office. She arrived at 7 in the morning and left at 9 in the evening. Claire took her to meetings with clients. Olivia listened, observed, and sometimes asked questions. After the meetings, Claire explained why she had offered a certain price, why she had agreed to a discount, why she had refused. Olivia took notes and memorized everything. Claire took her to the warehouses. Olivia spent her days with drivers, loaders, and dispatchers. She saw how logistics worked from the inside. Trucks, routes, delays, problems. She talked to people who knew her father, who remembered how he started out. They said, Daniel always came here. He knew everyone by name. He didn't sit in his office. Olivia thought, I'm not going to sit around either. The board of directors met 3 months later. Herbert looked at the documents transferring 10% of the ownership to Claire. This is a serious step, Miss Gallagher. Are you sure? Yes, said Olivia. Claire has proven her worth. Without her, the company would not exist. She deserves to be a partner. Herbert nodded. We vote in favor. The rest of the board agreed. Roland's trial lasted another 4 months. Delroy called every week. He's spending all his money on lawyers. The offshore accounts are emptying. But his team is strong. They're undermining every piece of evidence, finding procedural errors. The prosecutor is holding on. But it's tough. Olivia listened without comment. The trial was far removed from her everyday life. She worked, studied, and built her company. The verdict was announced in January. Delroy called in the evening. Acquitted. The jury was not convinced beyond a reasonable doubt. Roland is free. Olivia sat in her parents' study, staring out the dark window. Will he come back? Unlikely. He spent almost everything on his defense. His reputation is ruined. No logistics company will hire him. Stateside publicly distanced themselves from him after the scandal. He's a nobody in this industry. I heard he's leaving town, maybe to another state, starting from scratch. Olivia hung up the phone. She felt no triumph. She felt no regret, just emptiness. Virginia called a week later. Olivia, can we meet? I need to talk to you. They met at the same cafe where Olivia had talked to Claire. Her mother looked older, but calmer. She sat down and ordered tea. I'm divorcing Roland. I filed the papers yesterday. Olivia nodded. Does he know? Yes. He didn't object. He said he understood. He's going to Nevada. There's a job at a small warehouse there. It's not what it used to be, but it's something. Her mother paused, then continued. I want to apologize for everything, for not believing you, for defending him, for choosing him over you. I was weak. I wanted an easy life. I didn't want to fight. Roland gave me peace. I thought that was enough, but it wasn't. Olivia looked at her mother. I can't just forgive you. Not now. Maybe someday. But not now. Virginia nodded. I understand. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just want you to know that I'm sorry, really. They finished their tea in silence. They said goodbye on the street. They hugged briefly, without warmth, but without hostility. Can we talk on the phone sometimes? Virginia asked. Not often, just to know that you're okay. We can, Olivia said, but rarely. Connor continued to work at Stateside. They met once every 2 months, drank coffee, talked about trivial things. The relationship was cool, but it existed. Connor once said, Thank you for not cutting me off completely. I didn't deserve a second chance, but you gave it to me. Olivia replied, We're family, not perfect, but family. 2 years passed unnoticed. Olivia worked 12 hours a day, studied, managed, made decisions. Claire was there, advising, correcting, supporting. They became true partners. Olivia knew logistics, clients, and numbers. Claire knew strategy, negotiations, and the market. Together, they expanded the company to 6 states, doubled the client base, and hired 100 new employees. The board of directors respected Olivia. Herbert once said, Your father would be proud. You didn't just save the company, you made it stronger. Marcus Stedman called again 2 years later. Ms. Gallagher, I have a new offer. $60 million, 3 times more than last time. This is a final offer. You've made the company valuable. We want it. Olivia sat in her office with Claire beside her, staring at the phone. Thank you, Mr. Stedman, but the company is not for sale. It remains Gallagher forever. She hung up the phone. Claire smiled. $60 million is an impressive figure. I know, Olivia said, but money isn't everything. My father didn't build the company to sell it. He built it for the sake of the business. I will continue that. Her personal life came unexpectedly. Olivia met a man at a logistics conference. His name was Jerome, and he worked as an engineer for a company that manufactured warehouse equipment. They talked about automation, technology, and the future of the industry. He asked her out for coffee, then for dinner. A year later, they got married. It was a modest, unpretentious ceremony, attended only by close friends and family. At dinner, Virginia came. Connor came. Claire was a witness. 2 years later, their daughter was born. Olivia named her Daniela. Her husband said, "No, that's a boy's name." Olivia replied, "Not for me." Life became more complicated. Work, child, husband. Olivia worked less, 8 hours instead of 12. Claire took on more. They shared responsibility like true partners. Olivia stood by the window of her parents' study, looking at the warehouses. Trucks arrived and departed, the rhythm never stopping. She thought about her daughter sleeping at home, her husband cooking dinner, her mother who called once a month, Connor building his life, Claire sitting in the next office working on a new contract. She thought, I'm not who I was 4 years ago. That Olivia was quiet, obedient, afraid of conflict. This Olivia is strong, confident, makes tough decisions. But I didn't become a copy of my father. I'm not his heir, I am me, Olivia Gallagher, owner, leader, mother, daughter, imperfect but real. The phone rang. Claire. Olivia, there's a problem with the contract in Texas. Can we talk about it? Olivia smiled. I'm coming. She left the office and closed the door. Another day lay ahead, another problem, another decision. But she was ready. The company was alive. Her father would be proud.